Hey there guys, so this is Brad from Bradley Johnson Productions. Thank you for checking out this video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how to write a great blog post, and a blog post that people actually want to read. Something that I've noticed during my time writing blog posts and basically a lot of different things online is that not all content was created equal, and you want to make your content readable and you want to make it valuable so that people actually have an incentive to read all the way through the whole thing. There is a lot of content out there that doesn't get read all the way through, and don't take it personally if people aren't reading, your entire content or clicking on all of your links. That's just normal. There's so much content out there, and it's hard to be able to keep people's attention for an extremely long amount of time. So the best thing you can do is basically produce the best content that you're capable of and give people great reasons to keep reading. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into how to write this great blog post. So I'm working off of a Mac and I have MS Word open here. So I'm just going to go ahead and save my content here so I have something that I can go back to later. So I'm just going to save it like this. Obviously, you can always change that later, but we don't have to worry about that right now. So let's go ahead and do probably the most important thing in any blog post, which is writing a great headline. And the headline is basically the title. It's the first thing that people see if they decide to click on your article or your link. And you want to make your headline such that people actually want to read more and that they don't fully know what you're going to say, but that they have just enough of an idea of what you're going to explain so that they want to click on the article or the blog post and read the entire thing. So just for the sake of simplicity and kind of giving a good example here, I'm just going to write down basically a blog post on what we're writing, or blog post headline on what we're writing. So as you can see, I wrote a little bit more than I had initially mentioned, and there's a reason for that. It's because if people feel like they are going to get a lot of value from what they click on, then they're going to click on it. And if you are basically offering more than just kind of a simple blog post, people find that interesting, and they're going to want to click on it because they want to know what your extra content is, and they want to find out, basically what you're offering really for free, just as part of being interested. Because if people have a good reason to trust your content and want to read it, they're going to read it that much more often. So that's why I wrote how to write a blog post people actually want to read plus 3 extras. And a good rule of thumb with headline writing is when it comes to numbers, you can write the actual numeral, but when you're writing your post, you don't want to write numerals unless it's above 9. We'll get to that more later, but yeah, how to write a blog post people actually want to read plus 3 extras. And you'll see that I used title case. For those who aren't familiar with title case basically means that you are capitalizing the first letter of each word in your headline. Some people use this, some people don't. Sometimes it depends on what country you're from and what the norms are there, but for the most part, copywriting experts have recommended this because it can help boost readability, kind of helps the words stand out on the page. So I tend to use title case, and it's a good thing to just be consistent with whatever you pick. So obviously after that, something that I often like to do to help myself get through the post faster is I'll write stuff like this. So this helps me get the quick outline established so that I'm not worrying about this later. I've found it's a lot harder to write a blog post if you are basically making up everything from scratch, or at least like starting here and staring into a blank empty page. Because if you actually have some of this stuff figured out, or at least the subheading like template written down, oftentimes it'll save you time later and it won't look so intimidating when you're trying to produce content. Another thing I usually do quickly is I just bold this. You can always go back and do that later, but I usually do it right away. So something else then too, instead of worrying about the intro, is I typically work on my subheadings right after that. So I usually write words here just to signify that I'm going to be writing the paragraph there. So yeah, another, we'll get right into the next thing basically. And one of the biggest things you want to focus on in a blog post, especially a modern day blog post, is you want there to be plenty of space. So I'm going to write down, be sure to space out your paragraphs. The reason for this is because people who are reading your stuff, they don't have time necessarily to sit down and read the entire thing right away. And even if they do, they don't want to see large blocks of text. They want to see things broken up so that it's very easy to read. That's another reason why list articles are very popular, or what sometimes people refer to as listicles. And I'll cover that in a future video, but be sure to space out your paragraphs. So we'll just write some content here really quick. So there's a quick paragraph there. Yeah, spacing out your paragraphs and big ideas within your post allows people to scan your content quickly. The internet is a place of convenience. I'm actually going to add that in here too. There's a couple other ideas there. So yeah, basically it's important to do this because people don't have all day to read your content, and if they have to spend an inordinately long amount of time digesting what you're trying to say, they're probably just going to skip to someone else. So then I would just add whoops. So yeah, that's the basic idea behind that. And it just, in addition to making it very readable, it makes it look relatable. Oftentimes, academic papers are the ones that don't have a lot of white space, and it's just text after text after text. People tend to be very visual by nature, and they don't want to read a textbook unless they have a strong desire to, or unless they need to. So giving your content a sense of relatability is always a good idea. So I'm just going to bold that here as well. Let's go to our next subheading, which is always use strong visuals. It cannot be overstated that graphic design and visuals and pictures and video in general are just an essential component these days. Like I said before, people are visual by nature. About 70% of people tend to gravitate towards visual content, like regardless of what it is. It's just part of how we're built. So you always want to have good graphics and lots of visual content in there. So let's write some content here. Obviously, I don't want to spend too much time on everything here, but whether it be an infographic, pie chart, video, or GIF, strong and eye-catching visual content is a must for today's blogger. It's very much essential to have this stuff today because there's so much competition out there, and if your blog post, or even your blog in general, if it's just text and there's no images anywhere, that's usually not compelling for most people, at least not right off the bat. People are used to Instagram and YouTube these days, and even Pinterest, which are all very visually oriented social media sites. And if your content just isn't matching up to that, people are going to be confused, and they're probably not going to think it's professional. I'll actually add that in here too. Yeah, most people that want to consume content online see people as professional if you're really working hard on your graphic design and your visual presentation. So Jeff Bullas actually has some great content on this. which we could use for one of our other things here. Let's see. So whoop, I'll get rid of that. Let's see if I can find the article I was thinking of. This is a different article than I had originally come across, but this definitely talks about the power of visual content marketing. He's clearly saying most businesses aren't tapping into this as much as they should be, which is absolutely right. Here's another good stat. So almost 40% of users favor visual content and are more responsive to visual content shared with them as compared to text-only content. So that's a strong percentage of people right there. That's basically half. So we can take that and copy it. I'm just going to put this right here. So I'm highlighting this. I'm going to open up a link or adding a insert hyperlink, and then I'm just going to paste it and hit OK. So far so good. We're going to get to the other stuff. So just to be quick, let's try and just maybe a sentence or two here each. So we covered spacing out your paragraphs, always use strong visuals. Actually, I'm going to change this here. Just a little bit shorter, more direct. So space out your paragraphs, always use strong visuals. And then another thing that's a must is produce quality, relevant subheadings. Let's see. So obviously with our subheadings, we want to make them relevant. You want to make them actionable. So one thing that you'll notice about these is they're all pretty short. They're relevant. You know, I'm not losing track of what I promised I'd write to people about. So writing a blog post people actually want to read. Making it scannable makes people want to read it. Using strong visuals pulls people in, as we know. Making your subheadings actionable. It's surprising how many bloggers, especially if you're just starting out, you know, definitely don't fall into the trap of not making your subheadings relevant and actionable, because that's the whole point too of, especially if you're a nonfiction blogger or if you're writing about tech or finance or something that is not fiction related. You want to make it relevant, and you just want to make people feel that it's easy to take action on. So we did that, and then we're just gonna close this out here. One thing you want to try to avoid too is a subheading or a header anywhere that's at the bottom of a page is called an orphan. So when you do post, you want to try and make sure that that's not there if you're actually posting in like a online magazine or something like that. If you're doing more of an article format, but basically for now, let's pull that back up here. So subheading 4 would be include both internal and external links. Part of SEO best practices for blogging include providing the user with relevant internal and external links. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this one here. I don't really like that one. News websites, technical blogs, additional let's see. There we go. News websites, technical blogs, tutorials, affiliate products, or other valuable sources. So yeah, that's basically it for now. Yeah, you'll see that I'm already adding, I'm doing kind of some irregular spacing here, which isn't good, but obviously it's not final yet. But obviously something else we want to do to be true to our own word is we want to put in images. So I use Stencil. This is a paid service, but I just love it. I got it a while back and I've never really looked back. I actually like it a lot more than Canva. So yeah, so this is great, and let's get some pictures in there. So let's see what we can find with blogging. All right, so these are really good. Let's see what this one looks like. We can get rid of this because we don't need that anymore. This is cool, but it has a lot of text stuff in it, and I don't really want these words in there. So let's change this to, let's see. Blog post. I'd probably rather have a blog post feature. That's another thing that's nice about Stencil is they give you all these templates, and I know a lot of other people give you templates too, but I like how they have it laid out here. So let's see here. This one's pretty cool. It's nice and sleek. So I'm gonna go ahead and download that one. So yeah, let's just save it on the desktop. So we want a few more. This one's good. Let's see what we get with this keyword here. This is really good. I like this though. I like it because it's got bright colors and it's icons that people will recognize. Which is another great thing to do, is if you can find a way to utilize stuff that people already know and recognize visually, they're going to pick up on that really quick. Yeah, let's go with this one too, because this is relevant as well. Cool. So we got 4 pictures, which is great. And actually we need one more. This is really nice. I like that. Because we always want a featured image. So now we have one picture for each subheading, which is plenty, and then we have one for our featured image. So let's go to Giphy. I love GIFs. They definitely help a post stand out. Let's see. We don't have to get it perfect, so for now, this is pretty good. All right. So now we're going to pause a minute, and I'll meet you back when I have WordPress open. So now we're back, and let's get our post in. So obviously we want to make sure this goes up here so we can delete that. And let's write our intro and outro so that's not just saying intro and outro, because I would be giving you a bad example if I didn't do that. So there are millions. Let's see. Check out these 4 tips on how to write a blog post people actually want to read. Obviously, we have to make good on our word because we can't just say that and not deliver. This is a very quick example. Let's see. Just looking at my own site really quick. Let's leave this over here. So yeah, basically what we want to do is add this. Let's see. Best free blogging courses to grow your blog. And then my own ultimate list of content and marketing tools. It's always good to have your own stuff in there if you have the chance. I'm just making these heading 2. It's always a good practice. And while we're at it, let's make these heading 2 as well. It'll automatically do that in the latest version of WordPress. As you can see, it's just a good SEO practice, and it makes your content even more scannable and readable. So let's write our outro. Cool. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy, and I'm just doing it for the sake of simplicity, but when used consistently, these tips will help you crank out informative, scannable, and shareable posts that have people coming back for more. I hope you enjoyed this post. Please share on social media. And then obviously we would put our links in here. Just plopping these in. Super simple like that. So we made good on our practice of having at least one external link. And let's see what we have on my own. Let's see. We can close this. This is a series that I wrote a while back that I know is just off the top of my head is relevant. So if we do optimization, Cool. So let's see. So we wrote a great blog post that people would actually want to read. We're still going to put in our graphics. We have our 3 extras because they're down here at the bottom. We did space out our paragraphs. We're going to put in our strong visuals. We made great subheadings, and we included at least 1 external and 1 internal link. So let's get our media in here. Oh, that's no problem. We'll just add this in. Let's see if we can add more in at once. Yeah, there we go. So basically, while we're waiting for this to upload, we can easily, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one because we don't want a duplicate in here. Yeah, we're basically going to plug these in, and then we don't want to forget about our GIF, which we're going to use in a bit. So we'll get to that very shortly. Oh, alt text is very good too. So person writing on desk. We can delete this because we don't want that anymore. Let's put in our, actually we'll put in our feature image in a sec. Quality relevant subheadings. Meant to put the other image here. Let's do that really quick. All right, yeah, so now we have this one, which is fine. We have this one, and then here's where we want to put our GIF. So let's see here. Cool, we'll put that right here. SEO for that, internal and external links, and then we go back to document. We want featured image, and then the one that I liked for that is this one. It's just nice and clean. Close up of Macintosh. Just get that info entered in really quick. All right, so this is really good. We have super good readability. I did use very simple language, which is great. That's what you want. You never want to use language that's too complex. So this is good. I'm not going to change this because it's just needless. If you get a green, that's great. So let's see what we have here. Let's see if we can change this. One thing you can do is copy and paste. You don't have to. You don't necessarily want to, depending on what your goal is. Let's see. Whoops. Let's go back. So I want to reduce this a little bit. Let's save it. We don't need that. We don't need this either. All right. Well, SEO takes a while to get right, and you kind of have to tinker with each thing. But let's see. There we go. Oh, great. Perfect. Actually, I was able to do it. So, yeah. Yeah, because you want people to be able to see everything here. So you make it nice and clickable, which is great. Because people can see your URL right here. So that's perfect as is. And now we have green and green. So that's excellent. So we have a great header. We have great content. We have pictures. We have links. We have a GIF. Let's see what we get. Cool. So we have an awesome opening paragraph. We have images. We have links. We have really good subheadings. We have more stuff. This is really cool and really fun. That'll definitely catch people's eye, especially if they're scrolling. We have a nice breakup of image to subheadings to text, which is always good. Our SEO is great, and we have 3 extras. So there you go. That is how to write a great blog post that people actually want to read.